Alright guys, it's father time. Flying the PMDG 777 on the 300, by the way. 777-300 on the Prepar3d, P3D version 5. I'm pretty much new to the sim world and very new to this Prepar3d. I do, however, fly the 777 for a living, so I did the whole pre-flight. This is a study level machine. Not sure why they can't do it over Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think it probably has to do with these, the frames per second, because Microsoft Flight Simulator puts so much into your scenery. I did download the JFK scenery. Just installed it, but other than that, it's pretty boxy, but it's great preparing. I could definitely prepare for my recurrent training in this thing. So we are going from JFK to New Delhi. There it is, New Delhi. 700.
On runway 0.
Let me bring that over.
Left. On runway
7,079 miles. Got a 16-hour flight plan. We are at max gross weight. Our max takeoff went on the 777-300 is 775. We're at 7-74.7. Put that back, and we are going to try to do an engine fire.
On runway 0.
I'm gonna start it
left.
right here.
On
if I can figure out how to do it. Oh, this this machine, when it makes it over to Flight Simulator, guys. Oh, my friends are. It's got an iPad with all sorts of stuff, sort of like the Phoenix. I've been playing with that a little. I'm not ready for prime time with that. I'm not ready for prime time with a lot of things on this platform, any platform for that matter. But this is my airplane. Everything's good on the overhead. We're all set up for takeoff.
On runway 0. 4.
Flight guidance, payment clearance, runway heading 5,000. 183 is our V2, engine out's 810. Our heading hold and toga with the VNAV arm. And now let's go down here. Right. Aircraft failures. Getting kind of excited. Yeah, I already did all the prepare for landing. We're gonna go to fire.
On runway
I get nervous
0.
just saying it.
4. Left. On runway 0.
Programmed.
4. Left.
How about left engine fire? Arm. Yes. And we'll do it in 2 minutes. There we go. And there we go. I'll start the clock up here. Okay. If it happens to go off before V1, we're going to keep going, even though we're technically aboard.
0.
I think as long as I roll with about a minute,
0. 4.
15 to go, so somewhere down around 45, we should be at V1 by the time we get it. I'm going to demonstrate an engine fire at max gross weight. Who's flying the airplane? That's the most important thing in the briefing. I always tell we have 4 pilots on this daily flight. I tell the guy in the back corner, you watch the pilot flying, and the other 2 guys work the problem. As soon as they're done with the problem, everybody watches the pilot flying. That's the biggest thing is distraction, right? Someone's always going to be flying the airplane. But you guys know all that stuff. Okay. Normally you hit the toga button 50%. Down here, right? But you got a little button up here, little button. 1 minute to go before we get an engine fire. Let's give it a shot, kids. What do you think? Right about? Let's give it a shot.
On runway 0. 4.
Let the engine ice on, by the way.
0. 4. Left.
Get down right. See this stuff? 35 seconds. So engine fire.
80 knots.
Check. There's some cloud static systems. It's going to work out pretty nicely. 18 seconds. So we're going to be in the air when the engine fire starts.
V1.
Nice.
Rotate. V2. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. All right, my aircraft Yes, sir. We got an engine fire in the left engine. Let's get the autopilot on. And I'm going to say QRC action. He's going to turn the auto throttles off, left throttle. So we both confirm it to idle. I bring it to idle. And then he can bring the left fuel control switch cut off, pull the left fire handle, and turn the throttle. Start the clock for 30 seconds. All right, power went all the way back. You definitely want to have a NIT, index, perf, index, thrust. Why is this not doing thrust limit? Should be on go round power. Here it is. All right, I'm flying the airplane, and the fire is not going out after 30 seconds. So I'm going to tell him to fire the other bottle. Goes, and I'm flying the airplane. The other RC captain is watching me. Okay, I'm going to say flaps 5. The other flaps 5, and we tell him Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Father Time, egomaniac that I am. 1, 2, 3. Engine fire, we'd like to go runway heading 3000. They say Father Time, 1, 2, 3. Maintain runway heading, climb to 3000. There's flaps 5, so we go flaps 1. A little concerned the fire is not going out. Fired both bottles. Come on, fire. Two guys are watching the guy flying, and I've set a 270 because the clean in maneuver is 262. Flaps up. Flaps up. I think I fired the same bottle twice. It's usually not how it works. No matter which way you turn it, the other bottle goes. Excuses. I think I'm going to maintain 280 at this gross weight. You can see that we can't maintain 250 below 10. So we've gone runway heading 3000. The fire has gone out. That's good. And he did the QRC items, which also would have had him or her or they, right? Start the APU, and also ground proximity runway override. It's going to be flaps 20. All right, there it is, 3000. I'll tell tower I can take a turn to crosswind on a 310 heading. So we declared a mayday. We made sure 2 of the guys in the cockpit were flying the airplane. 2 of the guys were working the problem. They got the quick reaction card done. Fire did go out. Got the APU started, ground proximity override. This is what we're going to do here, guys. Override. That way when we go flaps 20, we don't get any warnings. And now they would get into the checklist that's on the QRC, on the actual ECAM over here. Left engine fire switch, rotate 30 seconds, that's all done. Wait 30 seconds, we did that. Fire is shown, no. So everything is done. Anything in blue is already done. I love playing this in here for the suitable alternate. Target selector is on, transponder TA only. I'll have one guy tune the TA only, checklist override. And that's it, checklist override. I have them do the normal checklist. And we basically checklist override all these. Gonna get him up. He'd be doing this. I'd be flying the airplane. Now, I would have the reserve relief captain call back and tell the flight attendants they know what to do. A very, very experienced flight crew here. Altimeter's 2992 cross check. Cross check. All right. Well done. And then he would tell them do precautionary landing. We'll take our turn to downwind. So while I'm flying the airplane, the FB is watching me by this point. The FO has run the checklist, said, sir, the checklist, engine fire, shutdown checklist complete. Would you like me to do the emergency landing and overweight checklist? And say, go ahead. Well, that would tell us to start the APU, flaps 20 approach, flaps 5 go around, 1 dot on the wide slope to go from flaps 15 to flaps 20 and gear down. The venomous approach, American, how about this? How about Father Time 1, 2, 3, lights go runway heading to 2000. Roger, Father Time 1, 2, 3, and the venomous approach are clear runway heading 2000. And we get that, and then we have to notify the flight attendants, make a PA to the people, assure them that they get the travel plans underway shortly, make them as routine as possible, tell them that the FAA warrants us returning, nothing to be alarmed about, follow the instructions of the flight attendant. We'll be on the ground in 7 or 8 minutes. So here we are in downwind. PA is made, flight attendants are notified. I'm going to go, all right, you have the aircraft, the FO is going to take the airplane. I'm going to go KGFK to KGFK, because we're no longer going to Delhi. Are we dumping fuel? Nah, we're not going to have to dump fuel. So we're going to land on the left side. Copy this, ILS 4 left. We're going to extend it off a boat. Let's say, how does that look? They'll say, fine and dandy, we're done. All right, so we've briefed the flight attendants, we've briefed the people, we told ATC, they've asked for souls on board, fuel on board, we got 18 hours of fuel on board and 320 souls on board. We're not dumping fuel because we have plenty of runway on the left side. The left side has 11,000 feet of runway. The right side has only 8,500 feet. They do a landing analysis. One of the guys back there, like I said, get all sorts of manpower and all sorts of experience on this flight. And they come up and they say, yeah, 7,200 feet landing roll with one in reverse for 770,000 pound aircraft. Dry runway. If the landing runway is even a 5 on a 6, it goes up to 9,000 feet. So we would have to go to the left side. We can't go to 4 right. And if it gets down around 2 or 3 on the braking action, we might want to go somewhere else because the landing distance is 14,000 feet. Or we go out and dump fuel until we get way down on our fuel. All right, we're going into 4 left. Talk about the go round. You have to go around. It's going around. Toga. Flaps 5. Positive rate gear up. Send this approach altitude, which is 2,000 runway heading. Why don't we get down to 2,000 and start slowing down here, guys? So 2,000, flight level change, and I'll start bringing the airspeed back below 265 so that we can get the flaps down to 1. That's cabin ready report. Flight attendants prepare for landing. Remember, I'm delegating everything, even the prepare for landing, the lights, the APU, everything.
25.
PAs. I'm just, most importantly, I am flying the airplane. Yeah, this model, guys, is absolutely PMDG 777s, absolutely study level. I could absolutely 100% prepare for my recurrent training on this machine. In fact, I've been flying a lot. All right, speed below 265, flaps to 1. Spoilers, arm them. They're armed. Go 4 on the auto brakes. We'll come in here. Landing weights, flaps 20. So a 203 final approach speed. That's something else we talked about, that we're going to probably get a sink rate warning. What is this bridge doing out here? That is not accurate. Low 245, flaps 5. So much for the enhanced package. You know, maybe it is. Maybe it's the Verrazano. They don't usually do a left base. Pay no attention to these bars here. This VLS and 1.3 times the stall. They're probably not quite realistic, even though we're at max gross weight. Overweight landing, you want to minimize the sink rate. Note the weight at touchdown, but we're not worried about that today, are we? All right, so now I could tell them we could take a turn to we could take a turn to base leg. It's at about a 134 in the heading. 134 in the heading. I'll bring the range down to 10 so we can see. Maybe I'll bring the flaps to 15 just to get a little more. We should be able to handle it. A little more margin there on the stalls. All right, so we got brakes for, spoilers are armed. Now we can bring the speed back a little more. 203 is going to be our final. We're not going to go gear down flaps 20 until we are one dot on the glide slope, just because it's so darn heavy. That's procedure anyway. We talk about the landing. That we're going to stop straight ahead on the runway. We're not going to park the brakes because in all likelihood we're going to have hot brakes. You can't taxi the 777-300 on one engine anyway, but especially not at 700,000. So we're going to be having ground tug us in. So we'll have maintenance come up. They'll shoot the tires with a heat gun. If it's hot brakes, we'll just sit there, let them cool off. They'll tell us how it looks. If they think we need to ground evac, something's on fire out there, we'll do it. But I would doubt that would happen. So most important thing is we don't want the flight attendants initiating a ground evac. They don't hear from us. So as soon as we stop, we'll say, Mr. Captain, remain seated, remain seated, remain seated. They're going to turn us inside of a Roki. So I'm going to extend us off Crystal, which is something you can't do in any of the other study level aircraft. That's good. And I'm going to do a little turn, base leg, to dog leg. Not that much. Just about like that. And I'm going to arm the approach. That's pretty tight. One thing you definitely don't want to do is let ATC rush you. So engine out, we can do a Cat 3. The minimums here are 257. Not real important to set that, but we'll run it on down. On a check ride in the simulator, we're required to hand fly it on in from the FAF inbound, which would be Crystal inbound. But we're not in the Microsoft Flight Simulator. All right, so far so good. Little concerned, the braking action, as I mentioned, is not good. There's low capture. So our mandatory call-outs are low capture, glide slope capture, Crystal crossing at 1500, make sure we got the correct FAF in. Missed approach altitude is set, by the way. Otherwise, we can set it now. See how the heading bug slewed around upon low capture? That's like the real airplane. None of the other study level aircraft do that. This airplane is product by PMDG is great, and I haven't even fully, by any means, explored all the little things it can do. Waiting on the one dot here. So low capture, glide slope capture, Crystal crossing altitude at 1500. We want land 3, which means it can auto land. But that's what we intended to do. And then we're going to get rollout and flare. Rollout means it will track center line on the ground, and flare means it's going to flare the airplane. It's all set up for auto land. This thing, you can go down to 300 RBR if the runway's capable on one engine, flaps 20. Pretty cool. Those are all things we talked about. There's one dot with the gear down. Flaps 20. Cruise speed 203. All right, there's glide slope capture, load capture. Next thing is Crystal at 1500. Runway in sight. That's a good thing, right? There's Crystal, 1500 feet. That's good. And we got IQ, which is the identifier for left. And we got Bazzi's red over white. So everything's looking good, man. Shall we auto fly? Autopilot off? Why not? Stable. Definitely do not want to float. Oh, look at this guy going on the runway. We're going to land over his butt. We would go around, guys, but this is a YouTube video.
100.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
50. 30. 20. 10.
Spoilers are deployed. Down to 140, 130. Now I got to come clean. I don't have a reverse available on the engine. There's 80 knots. That would only takes off about 150 feet anyway. 60 out of reverse. Stop straight ahead. And I would do not park the brakes because it's hot. And I would come on the PA, I'd say, this is the captain, remain seated, remain seated, remain seated. Fire crew would come up on ground frequency and say, hello sir, this is your ARF equipment. We're shooting your guns heat with your tires. Looks like the brakes are heating up pretty good. So yeah, we can't taxi with one engine anyway. How do you want to handle it? So we're going to leave you out here, sir. Let the brakes cool down. When they get cooled down, we'll bring the tug in and bring you over. I said, okay, we'll be standing by. That is it. Now maybe I can actually do an outside view.
118.975 for 68.907.
Of the PMDG 777-300 flown by Father Time. Full stop at Kennedy. That's my package for Kennedy. Looks pretty nice, huh? Almost like Microsoft Flight Simulator. Anyway, guys, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, I sure would appreciate it. I'm trying to build a following, and really loving it. Anyway, Father Time's out. See ya.